let's start, Charmaine.
Okay, Amit Lev, the Trade Consul, Israel Trade Office, Embassy of Israel to South Africa. We'll just say a few words on the Israel Trade Office and its experiences in South Africa, its activities.
Thank you, Charmaine, and thanks for joining us all today. As I said before, I'm the head of the Israeli Trade Mission here to South Africa. And we were supposed to be in the Western Cape and in the Limpopo area and to visit all this the great landscape of South Africa. Unfortunately, we will do it this time on webinar, but I'm sure we will be back to have to see the country and to meet the great people of South Africa. This is the first webinar for the Agri-tech Roadshow. We're here today with the Innovation Authority, our partner from Israel, and PMA, our partner from South Africa. So thank you, both of you, for partnering with us, and it was great, and hope to see more activities in the future with both of you. The agri sector is the most strong sector that we have in Trade Mission in terms of collaboration between Israeli and South African companies. We see a lot of success stories, a lot of collaboration, and I think the most important thing about agriculture in South Africa is that the understanding that your competitor is not the farmer that next to you, is the farmer in the States, is the farmer in Europe, is the farmer in Asia, and that's why the understanding about I have to be innovative, I have to be, have the best product. The price is important, but not enough. I have to have also, in terms of quality, the best product. And this understanding that we don't see a lot quite often in other sectors. We don't see a lot of embracing innovation in the fintech sector, for example, or in the medical devices. And I hope, and this is why we see a lot of this understanding coming through in the agri sector, and we see a lot of success stories between Israeli and South African companies. So we're the Trade Mission. We help to facilitate collaboration between Israeli and South African companies. We'll be glad to be in touch with you after that. We have 6 good companies with great solutions that I'm sure will be interesting. I would like to thank you personally to Charmaine for the great work and for the hard work. She's leading the agri-tech sector, and she's the expert for anything that you want to know, and we would like to be in touch with you in the future. Thanks, and have a good webinar.
Great. We now call upon Leanne Jones, Country Manager of PMA South Africa, to say a few words, please.
Hi, Charmaine. Thank you for the warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. As Charmaine mentioned, my name is Leanne Jones, and I'm looking after the PMA here in South Africa. I'm working together with the team to bring PMA value to our members and the industry overall in South Africa. We are incredibly pleased to be partnering with the Israeli Trade Office for this virtual Agri-tech Roadshow, and we're really looking forward to next year when we can do it again in person and go around the country and connect Israeli to South African business. Just a little bit about the PMA for those who don't know who we are. We are a trade organization representing companies from every segment of the global fresh produce and floral supply chain. PMA helps members grow by providing connections that expand business opportunities and increase sales and consumption. We have a unique network of more than 63,000 contacts from more than 2,700 member companies based in 95 countries across 6 continents. Our mission is to connect, inform, and deliver industry solutions that enhance members' prosperity. In South Africa, we have over 100 member companies consisting of grocery retailers, growers, exporters, banks, and logistics companies. We also have a technology team based in the USA who assists members to gain greater awareness and understanding of emerging science and technologies, particularly related to labor, product safety, supply chain, and sustainability. As with many countries, South Africa is experiencing many challenges during this pandemic, but there is a silver lining. If the lockdown here in South Africa is successfully phased out, real agriculture GDP growth, followed by a further 1.2% in 2021, according to BFAP. So let me hand over to Charmaine, who's going to be introducing the companies that are speaking today. And I'm really looking forward to learning more about the Israeli agri-tech developments and how these innovative companies can help our South African businesses capitalize on this predicted growth.
Thank you very much, Leanne, and thank you for your continued support. Now, the format will be as follows. We'll have each company present for about 8 minutes. There'll be about questions for 2 to 3 minutes straight after each presentation, so we can stay within context. The companies are going to range from supply chain logistics all the way to agri-fintech, up to supplying to markets, giving emerging farmers or smaller farmers or even large-scale farmers direct access to banking online with accessibility, to connectivity, satellite connectivity in rural areas, which will allow the farmer, the grower, or the logistics company connect when they're far and wide. So I'd like to begin with Geshem. Sagi Pincus from Geshem, GIS Farm Management Technology System. He'll be giving you an overview of his farm management system, which connects from farm to fork and all operations of the farm at the touch of a button, turning data into information. Please go ahead, Sagi. Sagi?
Yes, I'm just sharing my screen. Just a second. Okay, can you see my screen?
So far, yes.
Okay. Hi, nice to meet you all. My name is Sagi. I'm the CEO and founder of Geshem GIS Management for Agriculture. A few words about where Geshem is and how we started, and then we're gonna dive straight into the technology. So we started in 2010. I grew up in a moshav, which is a village in English. I worked in agriculture, and I've noticed that there is always a problem managing the agricultural data. I met my partner and co-founder, Yuval, which he came from the GIS world, Geographical Information System, and we decided to take a GIS system and completely converted it into agricultural management. Today, we work in Israel in over 250,000 dunam, from the Upper Galilee all the way down to the Red Sea. We decided to go abroad, and our choice of destination is South Africa. Why South Africa? We met a lot of farmers from across the world in a big Israeli roadshow, and we noticed immediately that usually when you speak to a big Brazilian farm owner, you speak to a businessman. But when you speak to a farm owner in South Africa, whether it's small or big, you're speaking to a farmer and you can connect on the professional level. They all understand agricultural, and it's very convenient for us to communicate with them. So let's talk about this idea of precision agriculture and advanced agriculture. What does it mean? Well, basically it's a concept in agricultural management, and I believe that everybody in here agree with this concept. This concept is talking about 3 main points. It's talking about space and time, meaning your plot and your season. The season support system, you want as much data as possible to make informed decision. And you want return versus cost. I put $1 in the ground, how much I get from it? Well, there are a few challenges in that. And in order to understand the challenges, we need to see the face of agriculture today. Well, this is the face of agriculture today. Basically, you have access to every piece of technology that you want. But the real face of agriculture today is this. Every commercial farm works with between 5 to 7 different software. Everybody has his own database, everybody has his own format, and everybody is shooting it at the farmer, and you are getting enslaved to the technology. You are investing a huge amount of energy harvesting data, and you're getting very little yield from it. In Geshem, we have a different view from it. We are supplying a GIS platform that is enabling you to work with all precision agricultural products, and we will shoot everything at you. But the difference is everything will be connected. It will come in one box, in one screen, in one report, in front of one agriculture manager, and especially it will come in one singular format. So what is the key for precision agriculture and advanced agriculture management? The key is a centralized farm management software, which is GIS based. Why GIS based? Because we're selling it No. Take a minute to think about it, about all the precision agriculture products that you know. What is in common with all of them? Everything is location-driven data. And this is the actual definition of GIS, location-driven data. So let's see what we've been talking up till now. We talked about the accurate source of information at the right time, at the right place. Up to here, I believe you agree with me, at the right price. Now you will say, oh, hold your horses. Who says that your price is the right price? Well, I'm going to give you my unbiased opinion on that. Geshem invests between 25 to 30% of its income in research and development. By working with Geshem, you invest in yourself, and let me explain myself. In the last 50 years, we've been witnessed huge technological leaps, and agriculture has been one of the top 5 industries that experienced the biggest technological leaps. By investing 30% of our income in research and development, we are enabling you to work with the cutting edge of technology instead of chasing it. And I'll show you what we've done in the last year. In the last year, we did a new UI and innovative report set because we know how you work, and we design everything according to what you want. We did trap monitoring. We did mobile app because you want your data with you in your pocket the whole time. We did spray control. Where did the tractor went? How fast did it go? Did it skip a line? Did my employee went to sleep in the middle of the plot? And you will save a lot of money by doing that. This is our own product under our own brand. Same goes to remote sensing. We want to enable you to be proactive in your crop protection. So we connected directly to the satellites. Last but not least, Geshem is a service-oriented company by definition. We always ask you what to do. You basically design the software, you design the platform. It's not enough to be user-friendly. In Geshem, we believe that you have to be farmer-friendly. That's why we ask you all the time what you want in the software. All of this has been done, and you can see all of that. But let's see what is going to happen. Well, the first thing that is going to happen is automation. We're going to invest heavily in that. Today, we know how to take in an automation way all the water, the fertilization, lab results, yield results from the factories. And the next thing we're going to take is your work. We mount trackers on your rigs and on your sprayer, and it's not going to be John went to plow in plot A and B for about 8 hours. It's going to be John went plowing for 1 hour and 45 minutes in plot A and 2 hours in plot B. And all of this is going to be logged automatically into the mainframe system. Irrigation, we already take the irrigation automatically, but we're going to combine it with the satellite imagery, with meteorological data, and everything is going to be presented with a very simple, clear graph on each one of your plots. Remote sensing, we are already doing it, and we are in connection with other satellite companies because we want to increase the resolution and increase the number of overflight. And last, we have irrigation recommendation. You can get irrigation recommendation from a lot of companies. Tell them where you are in the world, type of soil, type of crop, and you will get your recommendation. We wanted to do something a little bit different, more precise, I believe more professional. So we collaborated with the Vulcani Institute, and in the beginning of 2021, we're going to have irrigation recommendation via satellite with no sensors on the ground for open field tomato crops. This product will be backed up with 5 years of research and an entire season of field trialing, and we believe it will be much more accurate and much more professional. In conclusion, our way of thinking of this world of precision agriculture, the key to work with precision agriculture is a centralized software which is GIS based. GIS is not just a nice polygon on a map, it goes much deeper than that. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, Sagi. I don't see any questions in the Q&A, but I have a question. Have you managed to do any pilots in South Africa? Have you tested the system?
Yes, our agent partner in South Africa is Kubus Hata from Agriculture, We have one farm that we are already running the system in it. And we were supposed to visit in South Africa and to go on our personal roadshow, but you know, the COVID-19 stopped us. We are doing a little bit of a Zoom meeting with farmers, and we're very interested in that.
Thank you very much, Sagi. We'll share the details with the audience after the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Our next.
There is a question.
Sorry?
There is a question.
Another question. Okay. Sorry, Sagi. What types of crops do you have in your research? Besides, I see the tomatoes that you're heading for.
Irrigation recommendation is for tomatoes only.
Okay.
The system itself, the management system, we're doing all vegetative crops, from field crops or orchard, vineyards, plantation, bananas, dates, hydroponical greenhouses and cannabis greenhouses. The thing that is in development, as I said, it's the tomatoes irrigation recommendation, and there are 2 more products regarding cotton and corn.
Great. So one more question, Sagi. Does your system connect to the financials of the farming or growing operation?
Yes, the system has 2 sides, a financial side and an agricultural side. They are connected. Every action in the system has a price tag on it, and it's very easy to move data into the finance, whether it's warehouse, number of workers, invoices, outgoing invoices, and incoming invoices. Everything is connected together.
Great. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our next speaker now, which will be Zeev Stanluf from hiSky. Thank you, Zeev.
Hi,
Zeev,
thank you. Can you hear me?
I'll leave you to do the introduction.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Charmaine. Just to ensure that you can hear me.
Okay. Sorry, Zeev, may I go back
Yes.
one step? Will the audience please write questions on the Q&A as we go through the presentations, if you wouldn't mind? Thank you.
Okay, so once again, I will share my screen. Give me a second. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for hosting me. As Charmaine said, my name is Zeev Stanluf. I'm the VP of Global Sales and Commercial for hiSky. Actually, hiSky is not an agriculture company. We are more of a communication company. So I'll try to give you the basis why we are here and what we are trying to solve for you. So hiSky was established in 2015 with objective to become the first global SVNO, satellite virtual network operator for IoT world. IoT means Internet of Things, and agriculture is one of the best use cases for IoT. Just as a statement, most of the companies that you will hear today actually refers to data. A lot of data, big data or small data, don't matter. In the end of the day, they need the data to be moved from your farms back to your headquarters so you can do all the very nice analytics that you see from the company. So we are the company that actually will enable it. So let's start first with a problem before we dive into our solution. So over in the bottom of the slide, you can see the map. Okay, this is the map of the world with internet connectivity. As you can see, most of it, except of the sea, is white. White means there is zero internet connectivity. South Africa is a very unique case in Africa, which most of South Africa is connected to the internet through cellular or copper, but still also in South Africa, as in the rest of the continent, there is almost no connectivity in rural places. You can say and claim that you got internet where you are, but most of you are in the cities or in the villages. But most of the farms, especially in the countries, are in rural places, okay, where you can grow the crops or where the land is not that expensive. So this is actually where satellite is coming into the picture. Okay, we didn't invent the wheel. Okay, we are not the first one to introduce satellite communication. But if some of you already tried to deal with satellites, you see two different kinds of satellites. The regular satellite, which is the most common, is used for broadband, which use very big antennas and very, very expensive service because it provides broadband service, either for data or for TV streaming. The other one, which is more or less what we call machine to machine, which is the old world, the legacy world, is using a very expensive satellite band, which is called L-band. Those companies you know by the names of Inmarsat or Iridium. Those serve, let's say, sort of an IoT, a very limited band of the IoT, but still, because they're using a very, very expensive band, the service they're providing are outrageous. Okay, something that you will not will to pay to move big data from one side to another. And this is what we are trying to come into place. What we are trying to do is to utilize, okay, the same satellites that are used for broadband, but with unique technology to implement it for IoT, for low data rate. And by doing so, we will achieve something that will be more cost effective, or something that in the end of the day will cost something more like cellular, a little bit higher, but still in the same range. So what we got, what we do, and I will try to dive a little bit into the application and try to touch different kind of applications that you run in your farms, and I believe most of you can understand from the pictures where I'm heading. First of all, you got the machinery, okay? The machinery, the tractors, the harvesters, or the planters that actually are moving across the farm. Those are moving objects, okay? So for those one, we got a specific terminal, which we call the Smart Light Dynamic. Actually, what this terminal is supporting communication on the move. Over here, you can support all the applications that you want, for example, from your John Deere. You can download the maps to the John Deere, so actually you can get a very precise agriculture information. You can shoot back from the tractor back to your headquarters all the data that is actually gathered in the machine, from where it's planted already, how much fuel it got, how is the driver behaving? Okay, a lot of information that is already produced or provided by the manufacturers of those technologies. And we just enable the communication back and forth from the field to the farm. So this is one kind of terminal that we provide. The second type of terminal that we are providing a terminal for stationary application. In the field, you got a lot of sensors, okay, from rain sensors to weather machines to either sensors that are actually touching the crop itself and getting information from that. Those are not moving. So for those, we design a special application that is using a patch antenna, which is a little bit cheaper than the application you saw before. And we do the same for them. We move the information from the sensor back to the headquarters for the satellite, and vice versa. From the headquarters, we send commands to those. For example, if you got irrigation system, you can actually tell it from remote. Now you can open it or close the valve. Okay, very, very easy. The uniqueness, what you can see of those applications, is the small form factor, both for the Smart Light Dynamic you saw before and for the terminal, which is the fixed mounting terminal. This is actually something that is very, very unique to us, because if you look on the other satellite terminals we got outside using the same satellites are very, very big. The third kind of application that we are using is what we call communication on the plow. As a farmer, sometimes you need to go to the field and there is no other means of communication. Your cellular phone will not work, or you cannot move data from your iPad where you took it to the ground. So over we got a very small terminal, which we call the Smart Light Static. This is actually the same as the Smart Light Fixed, but it enables you to move it from one place to another. Just point it with our application, our pointer application that is use on your cellular, point it to the satellite, and in less than 1 minute, you will be able to connect to the satellite and again, transmit the data from your application on your iPad or make a voice call from the field to anywhere in the world. What you saw over here is our family of terminals. Okay, we got 3 different kinds of terminals that aim to serve different applications that you got in your remote location, in those rural places. The uniqueness over here, as you can see, it's a small form factor. This is one thing. The second thing, those are very easy to use, because when I say terminal, it's everything in one box. Okay, it's the antenna that knows how to communicate with the terminal, a modem that knows how to take the information from your sensors or concentrators or gateways in the field and transmit it through the satellite to the service that you got on the other side. The difference between those terminals are the antennas implemented inside. In the dynamic, we are looking in what we call a phased array antenna. This is actually what enables it to support communication on the move. This is for the machinery. This is the most expensive product that we are selling. And when I say expensive, it's dramatically lower or cheaper than what you see on the market. This is a sub-$1,000 terminal. Okay, so if you're looking right now for satellite antennas that support communication on the move, we are talking in tens of thousands of dollars. So actually, we are more than 10 times cheaper than what is currently available on the market. The SmartLight Fixed and the SmartLight Statics are in the range of $500, and it's half the price of an iPhone. This is something that is achievable and something that actually you can buy and use in reasonable prices in the market. Just to give you what we provide, because what you saw up to now is hardware, is terminals. But in order for you as a farmer or as an agricultural company to use it, you need an A to Z solution. An A to Z solution means that it's not enough that I will send you the terminal itself. I need to take care of all the chain. I need to move the data from your application that is in the field to your server, which is in the cloud. In order to do so, we develop the terminals on one end. On the other end, we develop the hub, which is located in the satellite operator teleport, sorry. And we also develop an NMS, a network management system that actually knows how to orchestrate all the information flow from one end to the other end. What it means, it's like a black box to you that in the end of the day, you just plug it to your sensor, either through Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or RJ45 cable. And in the end of the month, you will get a bill, okay? And the bill will be dramatically lower from what you know from regular satellite operators. This is because using our technologies, we are able to put thousands of terminals on the same satellite channels, meaning that in less of few users on the same channel, we can put thousands, meaning we can sell the service in much lower prices to the end customer. So actually, what you are getting when you are dealing with us. First of all, you are getting IoT connectivity no matter where you are. And we started operation in South Africa just before the COVID-19. Actually, we were supposed to be on the agriculture delegation that's supposed to visit South Africa in mid-March or early April. But due to COVID-19, it was canceled. So actually, we could demonstrate it in Africa live and show you how it's done. So actually, we got already covered in South Africa. Secondly, if you compare us to existing systems.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. 2 more minutes, Eve.
Okay, I got 2 more slides. I'll try to move it fast, okay? So if you compare us to other satellite operator, we are providing a very low TCO, total cost of ownership. It's not only that our terminals are cheap, the service is cheap, it's also the operation of the terminal is very, very cheap. You don't need nobody to install that. Actually, you just put it, press the button, and it will locate automatically the satellite. And secondly, because it's so cheap, you don't need to send a technician to the field. You just replace one and send us the faulty terminal, and we will fix it to you. The third one is an outcome of the second one. It's actually simple to use. As I said, we got our own application for voice. We got our own application to point the satellite. And for the dynamic, it's acquired the satellite signal by itself. So even my 10-year-old son can do it in less than a minute. I'll skip all the videos because we got some videos that actually demonstrated to you, but as I got only 2 minutes, I just want to say that everything was developed in Israel. It's actually our proprietary technology, and we are open for business. So if you got questions, I will be more than happy to answer. Hopefully, Charmaine, I was able to make it on your time.
Okay, I have a few questions, Ev, but I think you might have covered them. What does the cost structure for hiSky look like? A hardware cost and a monthly subscription cost per unit?
Okay, so there are two costs. There is the CapEx and OpEx. The CapEx, as I said, the terminal costs around $1,000 for the communication on the move and around $500 for the terminal, which is stationary, for the fixed one. The service is per usage. Okay, what actually we do, we communicate with each customer and tailor a service package for him. It depends on how many sensors they got in the field, how many data they want to move for one side to another, but in the end of the day, it counts in dollars or tens of dollars, no more than that. Okay, this is what we are talking in price-wise.
Right. The next question, in terms of battery life,
About?
Battery life, how long does the battery last?
Okay, so you got two types of application. I said the dynamic got a battery that is actually the dynamic is connected to the vehicle battery, and it got a backup battery that can transmit. Okay, continuous transmit is 1 hour. So continuous transmit of 1 hour is about 1 day with no communication because you don't transmit all the time. You transmit in periodical intervals, every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes. So actually, this is the way it operates. For the statics, we are connecting for external batteries. Okay, the external batteries could be, sorry, either a solar panel or a power outlet or an outside battery in the field.
Okay. I think I'm going to go to the last one. I'll forward you the other questions after the session. Are these terminals compatible with all cell phone network service providers in South Africa? Can I use these terminals to have a data connection to my internet on the farm? In fact, I wanted to ask the same question.
Okay, so I try to explain what I mean when we're referring to IoT. I'm not providing you a regular internet. Okay, I'm not providing an internet that you can go and use it for YouTube. Okay, this is not the meaning. When I'm connected in the field, the data service is actually for the sensors that are in the field. Okay, if you got a tractor and this tractor needs to send all the data that it collects during the day back, this is what I'm suitable because this is what we call low data rate. On the other end, you can use your own cellular phone and do a phone call using my terminal. You just connect between your phone and your phone, which my application is on it, by Wi-Fi to my terminal and make a phone call to any phone in the world. Hope it answered the question.
Thank you. Just like to say that we will be sending copies of presentations and details of all the companies' contact details after the webinar. So if you haven't managed to get your question answered, I will send you copies of contact details. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We will now be moving on to our next speaker, Eli Englert from Trellis. Welcome, Eli.
Hi, thank you very much. Hi, everybody. My name is Eli Englert. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Trellis. So just a quick sound check. Can you see my screen and can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay, thanks. So a few words about what we do. We are an AI-powered food supply chain management company. We help food and beverage companies manage their agricultural supply chain in a way that helps them eliminate agricultural waste, boost production efficiency, improve profits, and also helps them to conserve global resources. Our team is extremely mission-focused and passionate about what we do to bring a quantum leap to food supply chain efficiency with AI. Almost 1/3 of the company are PhDs in operational research, mathematics, AI, along with expertise in enterprise software and people who know the bits and bytes of and the complexities of the food supply chain. So we bring all these three worlds together. The problem that we're solving is that the food industry is one of the most wasteful and inefficient industries of our civilization, to the extent that if we optimize current production resource and optimize the supply chain, we can feed another half of global population, and we will save trillions of dollars every year, and will save precious planet resources. During COVID-19, we saw food waste and food loss on steroids, just much like many other things in our lives. And the reason was that there were extreme shifts in supply and demand. So for example, restaurants were closed in New York and California, and farmers in Oregon say, people don't make onion rings at home. What am I supposed to do with all that onion? And today, people understand that having a digital, predictive, and smart supply chain helps us quantify risks and events in real time and accommodate our business needs to these events. So what we're building in our company is essentially an AI-powered autonomous food supply chain. And that has three major components. The first one is the ability to predict at much greater accuracy, yields, optimal quality, timing of harvest, demand, and sales. These are variables that are very hard to predict. They're prone to, they're affected by weather and environmental conditions and farming practices. So it's an extremely volatile and noisy system. The second aspect of what we do is optimization of production and resource utilization across supply and food production. That involves transportation, trucking, inventory, production capacities, labor, and so on and so forth. And the third aspect is to help both growers and the food industry do a better job at balancing supply and demand. So for example, we throw away food as consumers when we buy, too much, and some of it is rotten at on the refrigerator, or if we put too much food on our plates. When you think about it from the order of magnitude of a food producer, like a ketchup producer would need to know how much ketchup people are going to buy and consume, and translate that to very complex planning and production cycles that start in the field. How many acres or hectares of tomato we're going to plant, how many we need in order to meet our production goals. So this is an extremely complex system with a fair amount of noise and unstructured data. And we're integrating all that data in order to deliver this vision or execute on this vision of autonomous food supply chain. Our unique technology attributes revolve around the ability to ingest data across multiple sources. That includes enterprise databases, data coming from third parties, including AgTech companies, and translate that to predictive information. Our product promise is at least to double the accuracies of our customers, and we're doing a good job at that. And the third aspect of our technology is to build this dynamic optimization. So let's say there is a heat wave in a specific region. How is that going to affect production and yields come harvest 5-6 months from that specific weather event? And that's a very hard algorithmic problem. and that's where we focus our technology effort. Few use cases in the next 2-3 minutes. First use case is the largest industrial tomato processor in Israel. Their main challenges are sourcing tomatoes from multiple regions and varietals, poor collaboration with the growers, difficulty adjusting production to extreme weather events, and the fact that the quality of the tomato affects production efficiency and profit. What we were able to deliver is to reduce the deviation in yield and timing of reaching the factory, and reducing the overall days of factory operation. And that was a huge cost reduction lever. The second aspect is reduce cost per ton by lowering waste. So waste could be either overripened tomato, a rotten tomato, or green tomato. We streamlined the entire sourcing operation across farms and regions, and increase the level of traceability and transparency from the grower through the sourcing teams, procurement teams, production teams. Everybody's using the same platform for better decision making. Second use case is with one of the largest wineries in the world, specifically in California. This is the 4th largest winery in the world. Their main challenges are managing yields, quality, and timing across thousands of vineyards in the US. There are potential asset bottlenecks in the wine production process, whether it's crushing grapes, fermentation, storage capacities. Inventory is extremely expensive. We're talking about companies that manage over $100 million in inventory that needs to be optimized. And then again, weather is, the wine industry, like any other food and beverage industry, is at the grace of Mother Nature. What we were able to deliver is over 50% improvement in yield prediction error in critical times for procurement decisions that really saved them millions of dollars in managing procurement and inventory. We're talking about the ability to optimize harvest timing and production in a way that will drive cost cutting in terms of labor hours, as well as direct saving at the vineyard. And then another very key area for optimization is grape to product allocation. So if we have high grade fruit that can go to $100 bottle wine and eventually reaches a $30 bottle wine, that there's a huge loss of value, and we optimize the production plan to maximize quality and reduce and optimize for cost. As I said, digital transformation in our industries is a prerequisite for quick response and flexibility. In normal days, it will be events like weather or crop disease or farming practices. And during the pandemic can be something like COVID-19, which we really helped our customers during those challenging times. And that given the wealth and breadth of data, AI and machine learning is the only technology to quantify the impact in real time and understand how the entire value chain needs to react. Just to conclude, we are building very sophisticated algorithms on the back end to predict and optimize the food value chain. On the front end, this is an integrated field to market experience used by growers, supply chain managers, production managers, and executives to help boost the efficiency of the entire supply chain with our AI. So now is a good time for questions.
Thank you. My first question, which you've covered with your grape and tomato study, was how many implementation has Trellis team done to date? So have you worked on California and Israel?
So we have paying customers across California, United States in general, Israel, Australia, New Zealand, and Brazil.
And have you worked in the nuts industry?
Yeah, we have early wins in the edible nuts industry as well,
Right.
Specifically pistachios.
Okay, great. One more question. What was the yield per hectare in the tomato example before your involvement and after your involvement?
So I would say that our product promise. So is that your question or somebody from the audience?
Somebody from the audience, Johan van der Merwe.
Okay, so thank you. So our product promise is not necessarily to increase yield. We help our customers increase yield by understanding the variability between different regions and suppliers and growers, and also year over year. This ability allows us to expose some of the levers that they can use in order to increase yield. With tomato, our focus so far was not around increasing yield, because yield is not the most important factor. Actually, quality,
I was going to mention.
Exactly. Quality in many production industries is more important than yield. And sometimes there is a trade-off between quality and yield. Just to give you an example, yield is measured by tons. So you can have tons of tomato, but when you look at viscosity, the amount of solids in the tomato, the Brix level, the sugar levels, these are more important, are more important profitability drivers for the producer than yield. And this is one of the areas of friction between the grower and the food industry, because the growers wants to optimize for yield, whereas the industry needs something else. And that goes all the way down to the contracts and the economic mechanisms. And this is why the system is extremely complex. So just to differentiate ourselves, we're not a precision ag company. We're an AI food system intelligence company. Precision ag wants to grow more with less. We are here to allow most efficient asset utilization from field to product. And sometimes it goes way beyond yield.
Just a question in the COVID, how were you able to accelerate your platform so fast with crops already, in other words, to reduce food wastage where restaurants weren't in operation? Were you able to be that agile and fast?
So I think with COVID, I think the example I gave with restaurants is just an example to show how with COVID really took everything to extreme. Yes. That, we have demand channels like hotels, restaurants, schools that are closed, and then that directly affects the beginning of the supply chain, which is farming, dumping food. Yeah. What we mostly saw during COVID-19 is extreme stress on the operational logistics side of the supply chain. So the mobility restrictions, all of those restrictions, labor, people coming and crossing the border to help around harvest. These are the issues. So the bottlenecks are always around logistics and operations. And for some of our customers, they told us, hey, we used to perform this task with 15 people. Now we only have 5. Just help us prioritize, help us do the right thing at the right time. So this is how we manage to help and empower our customers do.
Okay. One more question. Jacques Milan, do you integrate your system into other systems? Are you able to integrate?
Yeah, for sure. So we offer a software-only solution. Again, we're fully data-centric and agnostic to the data source. So we integrate enterprise databases, ERP systems, MRP systems, data coming from SCADA and production systems, as well as sensor data, whether it's aerial, remote sensing, or on-the-ground sensors. As long as this data signal is valuable, we'll integrate it to our system.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We've covered the questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll move on to the next speaker. Shalom Ben-Or from AveNews. Welcome, Shalom.
Thank you. I'm glad to be engaged with South Africa. It's been a while. Thank you everyone for being here. I will go over our presentation quickly. Great. So I think for context, our platform is really aimed for the one who is buy from the farmers and how it can empower the relationship between the buyers from the farmers and how farmers can gain access to financials. We're working in Africa with Absa Bank, going into more banks as we speak. And currently AveNews have two different solutions. One is for the African continent, already live in Kenya, Zambia, and getting into Ghana, hopefully to South Africa as well. Where currently in Israel, we're launching a marketplace for B2B fresh produce, where it's going to be a pilot that's going to run for the next 2 years. And we're looking to launch the similar product within other areas where we identify South Africa as a great fit. What we're going to go over today is our current product that runs in Africa already. So we're going to, what we done, we took a short video of one of our users, how we use the system, and we'll go over it quickly and go and see what benefits can drive once a financial institution know and understand the interactions and the trade relationship between a buyer and a seller. So this is how a typical supply chain look like in Africa, where in South Africa you can replace the Agri-SME section with cooperatives. We work primarily with this layer, with the SME cooperative layer that buys and maintains relationship with large numbers of farmers, while coming in and understanding that financial services is a difficult, starting from payments all the way into working capital and other trade finance solutions. Where as our platform integrate and inject into the supply chain, we digitize the different interactions and the trade connections while creating digital identities that financial institutions can understand and can work with, and feeding them the information they require in order to then provide critical financial services directly into the supply chain. Now, this is an example of one of our users in Kenya that need to maintain connections in front of more than 1,000 different farmers. They're coming into his warehouse where you have some agents on the field as well, where what the platform allows this entity to conduct is to manage first the purchase of the commodity, recording what type of commodity are being bought, and then make a payment. So as you can see, it's a very straightforward type of form where the entity, the agent in the field can choose the contact that's in front of him, the farmer. All of the information on the farmer populate within the system with the CRM and ERP capabilities, typing in exactly what type of commodity is being brought and being bought, what is the price, what is the quantity, and the description, where we can add different types of descriptions. By adding the product in place, basically creating what we call it a good receipt note, you can add different notes and you can add different products where we engage sometimes with farmers that provide different type of commodities. You sign and put the name of the agent that received the commodity, and then you can choose whether to pay instantly, where we're working with different payment processors available across the continent and in South Africa, and you can pay directly or you can pay later. Moving forward, the farmer receives it directly in his phone, where he can have this record, put it into his system if he have it. In South Africa, in some supply chain, there is smallholder farmers where they are not keeping proper records, where this system allows them to start engage and start creating a formal type of business. Once receiving it into their phone, they're now having the trade documents on their side. They can show it into other trade engagements and trade parties, and receiving a a very strong validity that they now got paid and they have delivered what they were supposed to deliver. Now, all of it communicate with the bank. Currently, we're working with ABSA, meaning we are tailoring different financial products to the different markets we operate, from smallholder farmers finance schemes, allowing farmers to gain access to finance in order to buy inputs and fertilizers, all the way to a more sophisticated trade finance mechanism, allowing to directly finance different invoices once you populate it, and more to come. And yeah, basically, we're creating the infrastructure for the trade to be conducted on. We integrate with other systems, so we are comfortable to integrate other data points. We're coming in as a layer between the bank and the supply chain. We're allowing financial services to flow directly and according to the needs of the supply chain. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shalom. My first question is, must this system be integrated to bank and clearinghouse in country with bank accounts in different banks or same banks? I think you've answered that. So
we're comfortable to work with different payments mechanisms. So we can, assuming you want an EFT transfer, we can work with your bank. We're working with large card processors, so card transaction can instantly be created and distributed directly into the other side bank account, where in some countries where mobile money is more acceptable, we're working with all the mobile money providers, Safaricom in Kenya and so forth.
Okay. The non-existent informal marketplace in most African markets is ridden with many middlemen. How's AveNews able to build credibility of data for a commercial bank and the value chain partners in the platform? In other words, obviously looking for collateral.
Yeah, absolutely. So what AveNews managing essentially is we manage the three flows of creating a trade. So we're managing the information flow, we manage the good flow, and we manage the capital flow. While managing those three flows in different times within the supply chain, we're managing to cross-validate that those actions really conducted. We have a very strong and a very integrity of data where it's the ability to show exactly what the middleman, assuming is part of the transaction and bought the commodity holding in warehouse, what is missing in order to complete the transaction from commodity perspective, how much is missing and how many farmers engaging with regarding performances. Because it's, even if you need to go and buy more commodity, it's important to understand what is the performances within his network.
It's based on crop production more than assets.
And the historical data of the farmers, we know what is the probability of the farmers to perform well moving forward before the season and within the season.
Great. Got questions if you're working in the Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, and have you done any work in Ethiopia?
So we're looking on the region of Ivory Coast. It will be great to start working there. Haven't started yet. And not in Ethiopia as well. Again, we'll be glad to have a look. And Seppo, I can see you ask the question on the existing informal market. Happy to have to get deep dive into it later on today or later this week.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Shalom. Thank you.
Only a pleasure. Have a good day, everyone.
You too. Thanks. We'll be moving on to Elad Madrigs from Clarifruit, the first automatic quality control platform. Welcome, Elad.
Hey guys, good afternoon. Can you hear and see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So my name is Elad. I'm the president of Clarifruit, and what we're doing is creating the world's first automatic quality control and data analytics platform. We are focused exclusively on the fresh produce supply chain, growers, marketing companies, wholesalers, and retailers. We were established 3 years ago and have more than 20 employees globally today. Quality control is the keystone of the global fresh produce supply chain. However, it is still largely performed manually, and it runs on paper, with very limited data to arm the decision makers with. Clarifruit is changing this with an automatic QC and data analytics platform that powers more accurate, more consistent, more efficient, and more profitable global fruit and vegetable supply chain. Just a little bit about the management team. All three of us have vast experience working in global companies. And together we bring three very different and complementary expertise domains. My partner, Javi, who's the CEO and the product visionary, he actually used to run the world's largest QA, quality assurance testing product for the software world back in HP until 2017. And actually the idea of creating a similar automatic testing concept for the fresh produce industry came from his experience there. We've been very fortunate to announce a $6 million seed round just before the corona virus actually spread in February 2020. And we're very privileged to have the financial backing and the endorsement of the European Union as part of this round. We're going to utilize all of it to scale the business in the next few years. So let's talk about the problem we're trying to solve. We're trying to solve a major market failure where price is being determined by the buyer. Only after the quality inspection has been taking place at the receiving facility, at the buyer itself, whether it's a marketing company, a wholesaler, or a retailer. There are about 400 million transactions a year in this industry, in the entire supply chain of fresh produce. 5% of them are being completely rejected. Another 20% of the overall transactions are renegotiated for lower price due to quality mismatch. And this creates a lose-lose situation where the seller doesn't get the price he wants, while the buyer didn't get the quality that he was expecting. We estimate that this overall loss represents double the net income margin of the average enterprise in this supply chain. Now, there is obviously a manual QC process that's taking place in the industry, but it has some challenges. We believe there are 5 key reasons for why this quality mismatch is taking place. Reason number 1, most supply is actually inspected at fixed inspection rooms. Reason number 2, the actual crop that is being inspected is minimal, less than 1 promille of the overall supply. That's not good enough. The third reason may be the most acute ones, where there are different participants within the supply chain and they do not speak the same language. Inconsistent standards across seller and buyer. The fourth issue is the fact that the QC inspection relies on a subjective human judgment that only exacerbates that issue. And the fifth reason is that there's likely to be a quality degradation of the supply while it's being transferred or being stored, and someone needs to be able to inspect the supply much more frequently so you can manage the routing or rerouting dynamically so you can minimize rejections. So we've come up with a mobile, automatic, easy to use platform that enables you to do many more tests in an objective and consistent fashion while analyzing the information in real time to empower you to make better decisions regarding who to buy from, at what price, who to sell, and where to ship. I'm going to show you a quick video, a couple minutes, that actually shows how the platform works, or the mobile app. But essentially, our platform is composed of two key components: our front-end mobile app and our web app management and analytic dashboard. And now I'm just going to show you just how the mobile app works for a couple of minutes. So this is our mobile app. You open the app, you choose your variety of the specific produce. In this case, we chose tomatoes. You put a name or you read a barcode, as you can see at the top right. This is the variety selection that I just mentioned before. Next step, on the same screen, you choose the inspection type. Do you inspect it pre-harvest, intake, final product, in the warehouse, whatever you want? You choose the right inspection process here. The next step will be essentially our computer vision technology, where you are taking the picture of the crop. Depending on the specific produce, you either just take a picture above the bean, or you pull an aspect from the pallet. Whatever the QC process that you guys are doing today, you're going to continue and do that. We're just going to automate it for you. So this step that I just showed you will analyze size, color, and stem color automatically. This is an example of how the computer vision algorithm works. The next step is a semi-automatic step where you analyze the defects. I'm saying semi-automatic because currently we still require the customer to actually input the specific, to take a picture of the defect and then choose the label which is relevant for you. This will allow us to automate this process as well within a period of 6 to 12 months for each produce category. This is essentially how the machine learning works. But for now, we will customize the defect list to your specific process, so it's easy for your inspectors to choose the right defects. The next step is analyzing internal attributes. In this case, Brix, which is percentage sugar. You can use a refractometer, but no typing allowed. You just attach it to your smartphone, and the data is transmitted wirelessly, as you can see here, through an NFC protocol or Bluetooth protocol. You can also integrate a bunch of other devices like durometer or penetrometer for firmness. You can also input them manually if you'd like. This is an example of how you can manually add any other metric or attribute that you would want. And essentially, that's it. Then you get the results screen. All the data was analyzed on the cloud, came back to the mobile app with a grade. We're not going to be the one who are grading it. Actually, it's going to be your QC director that will define it in the dashboard, but that's for another discussion.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the movie here. Just a couple of points that I want to mention.
Thank you. Okay, I have two questions. Can the Clarifruit QC system integrate upstream? Sorry, Eli, did I interrupt you?
I'd love to just make a couple more points, if that's okay, before we finish.
Beg your pardon. Let's carry on.
Sure. Thank you. Real quick. So to sum up, we've been actually working with about 18 customers over the last 2 years. Latin America, US, Europe, and actually Asia. We actually have one South African player in the citrus vertical that we're going to start working with over the next month. 3 key benefits that we learned from our customers on our platform. Bucket number 1, we're going to automate your QC process. We're going to make it objective and consistent across your entire inspector base, and we're going to save about 50 to 75% of your testing time and cost day one. Bucket number two, obviously one database for all of your QC, real time with automatically generated reports, and most importantly, a lot of insights and analytics that are going to allow you to make better decisions. And that actually brings us to the last bucket. At the end of the day, our goal in life is to reduce the rejections that I mentioned before and help you guys make more money on each one of your customers. And there is a way for us to help you do that through our analytics. Again, happy to walk through an example offline. One last slide and one last point. At the end of the day, everyone wants to know what's the impact from an ROI perspective. I'm not going to go through all the numbers of this slide, but this is an illustration of a $100 million revenue enterprise. Okay, it could be a grower, it could be a marketing company, it could be a retailer. Okay, we made some assumptions on profitability and the rejections that they have, etc. At the end of the day, if you focus on the right-hand side of the page, we made a very conservative assumption. Number one, if we can save you only 3% of your rejections throughout the first year, and we're going to save you 30% of your testing time and cost, we've already proved more than that, we can actually generate another 10% of your net income based on that. That's year one. In year three, we're talking about almost 50% boost for your net income profitability. We are a pure SaaS model, so the ROI here is very compelling. Sorry, back to you guys and to any questions.
Thank you. I have a question from Albert. How is this calibrated as color, size, etc. are dependent on the smartphone and the camera used? Quality of the camera.
So good question, Albert. I don't know if you've seen it, but in the movie, we actually had a small white ping pong ball. So currently, we will require you to have a ping pong ball in each one of the pictures that are being taken. This is what actually calibrates both the distance and the color. I think probably over the next year or so, we can get rid of that as we have new technology in the smartphone cameras. But for now, that's how we do that.
Great. A question from Michael. For the defects, once the algorithms are developed from actual samples, do we as the client own the algorithm?
No, you, the client, own the data. So whatever data is being analyzed and uploaded as part of your account is yours. We will use the data to improve our algorithm, but the algorithm is our own IP.
Okay, one last question. Can it be used for raisins at the pack store? So once it's in the pack house.
We haven't, so today we have about 20 produce categories that we cover. Raising is not one of them. I'll need to check in with my product partners. Happy to follow up offline on that.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll now be moving on to Yaron Nemet from Varcode, cold chain supply management.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Yaron.
Okay, thank you.
If you can just speak a little bit louder.
I will do my best. Okay, so what I want to share with you is the next generation in cold chain monitor. So everyone, or most of everyone is using cold chain in order to move produce, to move meat, seafood, dairy products, and all those products. And in order to ensure the cold chain integrity, Varcode came up with a new technology. So why we need it? We need it with for three to meet three big challenges. One is safety. We are talking in the world about more than 600 million cases of foodborne illnesses annually, 23 million in Europe, and approximately 32% out of that is because of not maintaining the culture. Of course, there are compliances issues such as HACCP, GFSI, FSMA, and many other requirements that requires us to monitor the cold chain. And of course, sustainability, billions of tons of produce worldwide are being wasted because of not maintaining the cold chain, which leads to a huge loss in money. So Varcode vision is to empower a safer and more sustainability global supply chain for food and pharma products. And our mission is to provide low-cost, reliable information and technology to ensure product safety, reduce waste, and meet global regulatory requirements at a much lower cost than any other. So let's show what we are doing. So in general, Varcode has developed a new barcode label that changed the code when it's exposed to temperature. So we have, as we can see in the picture, we have a tag. It's a one-use tag that attached. It says a self-adhesive, and you can put it on the product or the product box, and it's being activated by pulling a tab. And from now on, it starts to measure and store time into the tag. So it's captured temperature variances, where it was happened and when it was happened. And the nice thing about those tags that it's not only a low cost and disposable tags, but it can be scanned by any standard barcode and smartphone. So you don't need to have any special equipment. The information is permanent and irreversible, and you have a digital record about your product. This combined with our track and trace functionality, so you have a complete traceability over your products, and not only the location of your product and time and location, but also what is the temperature abuse level that your product was exposed to. So every time that the product is being scanned by your smartphone, and it can be scanned also by any barcode scanner, you're getting information about who scans it, what was scanned, when it was scanned, where the GPS location, what is the temperature status, and the duration. So you have a complete data in your cloud-based data system, and you can get a real-time alerts if something bad is happening. So what we are doing, we are driving cost of distribution components down, and we are giving you more information that enables you to improve your bottom line. So every time that you scan your information or your product, you're getting information about where it was scanned, and you have a complete map of your scan and the duration that your product was out of refrigeration, how long your product was out of refrigeration, and what is the expected damage that was happened to your product. So Varcode's value proposition that it's easy to implement because you don't need to install almost anything. It's a standard barcode, it's a standard label, it's a standard barcode, so you just need to attach it to your product. It's a low cost, it's a much lower cost than any other product. We will talk about numbers in the next slide. You can apply this on every box because it's easy to use and it's low cost. This is the ideal solution for e-commerce and home delivery. Therefore, you can get a full control at a very low price. It gives you a digital record, so everything going into the database, you don't need to get a paper chart, or you don't need to get some file and to upload. Everything is automatically. You're getting a track and trace, so you have a complete track and trace information, and it's a multilingual. Everyone gets the information in its own language according to his phone, and you can get alerts, and actually a real-time alert when someone scans some product that it's out of refrigeration, that it's not safe to use, you're getting immediate alert. So compare it to any existing solution in the market. Our solution is much lower. We are something like between 10% or at least 90% of discount compared to any other solution, which is mostly the electronic temperature recorder. Our tag costs less than $1 US. It's a single-use disposable recorder, so you don't need to reuse it. You don't need to exchange batteries. You just attach it, pull the tab, and you get the data. So it's much lower cost than any other solution. When we are going to total cost of ownership, the situation is even better because we do not have you don't need to invest in any hardware. You can use any smartphone, you can use any barcode scanner in order to get the data. When you're buying the recorder, everything else is for free, so you don't need to pay for software and any installation. The product is being used worldwide by companies such as Walmart, Nespresso, Unilever, IBM, and many others. Varcode headquarters is in the United States and in Israel. And if anyone has any question, it would be my pleasure to answer.
Thank you, Yaron. The question's been answered. It was, what's the price of the barcode?
The price of the barcode is less than $1 US.
Less than $1 US. Is the tag basically works as a logger?
Exactly.
Okay, that was the question. Great. Thank you very much, Yaron.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll now move on to Sarah from the Israel Innovation Authority, Sarah Rosenberg, who will give you some information on Israeli at the Innovation Authority and opportunities for funding and joint projects. Hi, Sarah.
Thank you, Charmaine. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining today. I will be very quick because we are already running quite late. I just wanted to give you some brief information about how we can support the Israeli companies and the South African companies who would be interested to collaborate with Israeli technologies in South Africa. So first of all, a few words about the Israeli Innovation Authority, especially for our friends in South Africa. The Israeli Innovation Authority is the independent and impartial public entity in charge of planning and executing Israel's innovation policy. It was started in 1965 as the Office of the Chief Scientist and became the Israel Innovation Authority in 2016. Our goal is to promote, to invest in innovation to promote sustainable and inclusive growth and to complement private market investments by addressing market failures. We do that by funding innovation in Israel in all stages and in all sectors. Just to give you an idea of our impact in Israel, in 2019, we awarded grants of about $500 million to about 1,600 projects, out of which 130 million were for new companies that never received funding from us. So this total budget comes to around 5.5% of the total capital raised by the Israeli high-tech industry, and represents about 2.5% of the total expenditures on civilian R&D in Israel. So the Innovation Authority plays really a critical, major role in promoting innovation in Israel. I myself manage the Africa and the India desk in the International Collaborations Division. The International Collaboration Division coordinates international collaboration in innovative R&D, knowledge and innovation, and technology between Israeli companies and counterpart organizations abroad. We currently have more than 70 bilateral agreements in the world. I want to say that our emerging markets desk is quite recent. It was started last year in 2019, and our activities and initiatives with Africa are quite recent too. We are just starting our collaboration with African countries, and hopefully will be able to expand our work, especially with South Africa. So just a few words about what funding opportunities are currently available at the Innovation Authority specifically for South Africa. So our first program that's available is what we call the pilot program. It's a program that allows foreign entities to partner with Israeli companies who want to pilot, validate, scale up, and adapt their technologies to the entity-specific needs. The way the funding works is that we can cover at the Israeli Innovation Authority about 50% of the project cost, up to 50% of the project cost. The amount that we contribute has to be matched by the foreign partner with in-kind contribution. We don't require any financial contribution to this project from the foreign entity, but we expect that the foreign partner will provide in-kind support that will be at least equivalent to what we are contributing. And a small constraint to this program is that we need to have an agreement between the Israeli Innovation Authority and the foreign partner that has to be signed in order for the Israeli company to be able to apply for funding and to move forward with a pilot with this foreign entity. So it's it's a program that is usually meant for really large foreign companies, and we know it has its pros and cons and some constraints, and that's why we have been working on a new program that I'll present in a few seconds. The second opportunity is what we call the product adaptation track that is dedicated to emerging markets. It's been specifically made for Israeli companies who want to adapt their technology and their product to emerging markets. When we say adaptation, it means changes in the manufacturing processes, in the cost structure, adapting to the regulation, to the climate, to the culture, etc. Again, here the funding can be up to 50% of the project cost. In this case, we recommend that the Israeli companies work with a local partner, but it's not mandatory, and we don't expect the foreign partner to match our contribution. Lastly, as I said, we are working on a new track that should be more suitable for initiatives in emerging markets, which is called the Emerging Markets Track. Our goal is to unify all the opportunities currently available at the Innovation Authority for emerging markets, including what we call the Grand Challenges, which supports Israeli companies who want to do R&D or proof of concept to address challenges in the field of healthcare, water agriculture, and also the product adaptation track that I presented just before, and the pilot. So this track is in the process of being formalized and should be hopefully out in the next few weeks. The goal is really to provide a platform and a system that will support Israeli innovation for emerging markets. The funding can go up to 75% if the project cost is up to $150,000, and it can go up to 60% if the project cost is up to $450,000. So we are really hoping to boost collaboration between Israeli companies and foreign companies in emerging markets, including in South Africa, with this new track. So please know, both the Israeli companies and the South African companies, that we are here to support your initiative in case you decide to do joint R&D, product adaptation, or pilot. That's it. I'm available for any question. I can also share my email if you want to reach out later.
Thank you, Sarah. The question was, can we please share your contact details, which
Yes.
we will. Thank you very much.
I will.
Okay. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and partners, participants, companies. I'm going to be closing off now. We will share contact details of the companies and presentations after the webinar. Thank you again, and have a lovely afternoon further. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.